There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? It's money everywhere. It's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino is the Name. Hey, yo, what's going on right now? You're watching Casino is the Name, and in this video, we're going to talk about the difference between semi-trucking, hotshot trucking, and dump trucking. Okay, we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of all three. So, you know, this video is definitely not for people who are already in trucking or who already know a lot about trucking. This video is for the people who don't know the difference. I brought up hotshot trucking to somebody the other day, and they had no idea what I was talking about. Then I brought up semi-trucking, and they were like, is that 18-wheelers? Okay, what's the difference? And then I started talking about dump trucking, and somebody was like, you know what? I don't know anything really about dump trucking. I see them, but I don't really understand the business, or, you know, I never even really think about that as trucking even. So, which is crazy because it's definitely a dump truck. I mean, it's definitely trucking, okay? So, semi-trucks is, of course, everybody's used to seeing the 18-wheelers, and that's a semi-truck, right? So we will call a semi-truck. Now, it is a different style of trucking than, say, hotshot trucking, because hotshot trucking is done with a dually truck. Okay, if you see the pickup trucks that got the two wheels on the back, that's called a dually. Okay, and so you can get a dually and put a trailer on the back, maybe a gooseneck hookup, like you see the big Tex trailers or the Gator trailers, and typically people use a flatbed. But you don't have to have a flatbed. You may put a car hauler on the back. You can do all sorts of things. I used to move containers. I put them on top of a flatbed, but you could also do things called power only. Power only is when it's just a truck, right? You don't actually have a trailer. So semi-trucks also do this. See, that's why it's kind of tricky, because semi-trucking and hotshot trucking are both still hauling things. So it's actually kind of like the same thing, but it's just a different type of truck. So you can haul less, different things like that. But still, primarily, the idea is that you're hauling something. So in both situations, you can do power only. Power only is where it's just a truck. So you don't have a trailer, you don't have anything hooked up to the truck. You show up to whatever the destination is, and they only want power only, because what they're going to do is they're going to attach you to a trailer, or they're going to attach you to something that they want you to carry. So they don't actually want you to show up with a flatbed or a tanker or a step deck or anything like that. They want you to show up with nothing so that they can attach whatever they want you to carry to the back of your truck, okay? Now, examples of this would be if, I guess, let's say a large manufacturer already had truck trailers already packed and everything, and they just want a semi-truck to come in and hook up to whatever that trailer load is and just take it away. It's a lot of situations like that. It's a lot of contracts that are power only. And this just means that you don't have to end up buying a trailer in advance, a dry van or flatbed, a step deck, or a tanker, or a car hauler. You don't have to do any of that, because they already will have one for you when you show up. They just want you to come there with the truck only. And this is the same thing with a hotshot truck, a dually. So, which doesn't necessarily have to be a dually, but it's typically a pickup truck, but it's usually a dually truck, okay? But you can do it with like a regular truck. It's just not recommended. But you just show up with the truck, and it might be something that you're carrying. Like, again, they could have a trailer already loaded. They just want you to show up and drag it off. Or it could be something like, yachts. A lot of people, yachts or boats or whatever, a lot of people move boats around that way. They already have the boat on the trailer. They just want you to pull up with your truck and hook up and drive it off. It's a lot of vehicles that just get moved around, like a lot of different type of things that get moved around like that. It might be even like a mobile home that's cut in half and they got it already loaded. They just want you to pull in and drag it off, But that's a power only load. But the difference between, say, hotshot trucking and semi-trucking is two major things, okay? One is the semi-truck can carry a lot more weight. It's, of course, right? So it can carry a lot more weight, like a considerable amount of weight, okay? And you can do hotshot trucking without a CDL, right? You can do it without a CDL. It just depends on what GVWR, your gross vehicle weight rating or ratio, you're actually going to be carrying, right? So you can do that without a CDL, but most people still have a CDL to do hotshot trucking because you have a large enough trailer with enough GVWR, then you're going to be over the amount that you can have without having a CDL. But at the same time, like a semi-truck, you gotta have a CDL. It's nowhere around. You gotta have a CDL to even drive it off the lot, to even move it around, to even go back it up and park it. But you don't have to have a CDL to park a dually truck. You can just have a dually truck and just drive around with it without the trailer. You're fine. So that's that. Now, when you start looking at, say, a dump trucks also have to have a CDL, but it's a Class B. But now let's get back to the semi-trucks versus hotshot trucking. Two major differences. One, the dually truck cannot carry as much weight as the semi-truck. So you might have a load that is a certain amount of pounds, and you have to have you have to have a semi-truck to move it. And at the same time, it might be a small load, and it may not even make sense to hook it up to a semi-truck. And it makes more sense to have a dually truck. So you have that kind of trade-off, but basically can't carry as much weight with a semi-truck. It's pretty much that. And then the second major difference is for going over the road, dually trucks aren't designed for you to sleep in. So typically you may have to get a hotel room or, something like that to be in legal bounds or whatever. It's not really a sleeper. And don't get me wrong, there are semi-trucks that don't have sleepers in the back too. They're like day cabs, they're called day cabs or whatever. So they got a day cab, they may not have a sleeper either, but they can carry more weight. But that's really the major two differences. And I know people have added sleepers, I guess, to their dually trucks and stuff like that, but primarily it's not a sleeper. You're not supposed to sleep in it. I've heard people getting in trouble for sleeping inside of the dually trucks, stuff like that. But you're not really supposed to sleep in it. It's not a comfortable sleep. It's like if you're in a semi-truck and you got two beds. Some of them have bunk beds, right? And so it's designed for you to be away and on the road, but not necessarily the dually truck. There you go. And so those are the two major differences, at least in my opinion. But everything else, as far as what they're hauling, both of them, they're just really looking at weight and how much they can carry at that point. Now, also, you can get a CDL in a hotshot. I just want people to know that. If you drive a hotshot, you can get a CDL in a hotshot. You don't have to go get a semi-truck to get a CDL. You don't have to drive a semi-truck in the test. You can drive a hotshot and get a CDL. I don't think it's gonna allow you to drive a semi-truck because it's gonna say based up to a certain amount of weight you can carry because it's a dually. But there you go. All right, so and so now let's look at the dump truck. Dump truck business is very different from those two. Primarily you're moving dirt, rocks, something like that. Okay? So dump trucks, it's typically, not all the time, but it's typically a short radius kind of thing. And dually trucks and semi trucks, you can go over the road, you can drive local, you can just whatever you're trying to do. But typically, the dump truck is a local kind of thing. It's not really designed, or most people don't travel long distances with a bunch of dirt. They usually go. Guy told me like they mainly only run on a 25 mile radius or something. So it's kind of like that, just moving dirt from one place to another and back, especially in a major city like Atlanta. So that's dump trucking, but it's not really designed for you to be sleeping in the truck. You know, I've never seen a dump truck sleeper, and you're not really like hauling all sorts of things. I mean, you haul, you know, whatever you put in there is what you put in there. But I mean, like, you may be hauling commercial fax machines or something like that. If you're doing dump trucks and semi trucks, you might be hauling stuff like that. Dump trucking is not really like, it's not really designed for that. You hauling dirt, you hauling trash, things like that. It's a dirty truck, right? Now, this is the other part that people don't realize about dump trucking. Typically, from everything that I've seen, from all the people I've talked to about dump trucking, it's not really like a dirty man's job. Like the guys who I know, they jump out the dump truck. The dump truck dirty. Dump truck is dusty, okay? These guys jump out the dump truck in all white clothes, white shoes, ready to go to the club. Like, it'd be like, what? It's not what you think. Like, they're not really getting dirty. When I know semi-truck drivers and hotshot truck drivers who might have to get their hands like dirty, you know, but a lot of the guys I know that drive dump trucks, these guys is some of the cleanest drivers you ever seen. I'm like, yo, what kind of, how are you able to get out a dump truck and be fresh like this? Like, oh yeah, that stuff go back there in the back. It don't affect me. We ready to go out tonight. And I'm like, this is crazy. Nobody really mentions the fact that dump truck drivers, a lot of them don't even get dirty. Like, because to me, if I didn't know what I knew about, say, the trucking business and things like that, I would have thought that was a dirty job. I thought those people's, you know, having to be hands-on a lot with a lot of stuff. Not saying that some of them don't, but the guys that I know, they drive automatic trucks, and it's the easiest job for them. They in their earpiece and they chilling the whole time. Like, they not stressed out. They not none of that. So yeah. So that was just a little bit of interest to me. I thought that was interesting to know. But yeah. So those are the major differences. And we talk about pay. So the last time I was like doing research, like talking to people in the industry, the truck was doing, like, a dump truck would do about $80 per hour. So a dump truck on the site makes about $80 an hour. You know, loading, you know, moving back and forth, dropping stuff off, picking up tickets, or you'll get your ticket signed or whatever you do, punched or whatever. And it's about $80 per load, right? Well, per hour, not per load, but $80 per hour, right? And the driver would typically get 25%. So that would be $20 an hour or so. $20 to $25 an hour, and the truck would make $80 an hour. But you still got to pay insurance, truck costs, any kind of maintenance. And I'm assuming that the dump trucks get beat up pretty bad because, well, you riding around in construction sites and you around dirt and rocks. So at least that's just what I assume. What else? And so, like, let's talk about the pay for like semi trucks and hotshot trucks. Both situations can be financially rewarding, and both situations can possibly suck. Like, it is what it is. Semi trucks you would think would make more money, but I know situations where people who have hotshot trucks made more money, but it was just the style of trucking that they was doing. It's how they did that stuff. They were doing, they would pick up multiple items, small items, that were headed maybe the same direction, and based off of the fact that they were picking up just an item or had multiple items, they might have got more of a premium per item than if they had just been taking one thing from one location. So I've seen people make money in both, and I've seen people lose money in both. But you can definitely make six figures with either one. So somebody I know was just posting that they made 200,000, you know, in a year with their hotshot truck. It's absolutely possible. Don't know what they were hauling, what their niche is, because you can also niche down pretty good. And at the same time, same with a semi truck, you can make 200,000 Some people made 80,000. Some people made 50,000 with their truck. So it's just one of those things where it just kind of depends on your niche. Dump trucking is a lot more, I guess, standard, because a lot of them are doing like the same thing. So anyway, I just want to come on here, talk to you guys about the differences between the trucking, hotshot trucking, semi-trucking, or 18-wheeler, and dump trucking. Anyway, right now you're watching Casino is the Name. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and we out. There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. It's crazy, right? There's money everywhere. There's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino is the Name.